like at the beginning of this movie, you have this crazy chimp that is literally murdering people. And it's in classic Jordan Peele fashion. It's designed to kind of grab you. And it's designed to like completely take you out of what the narrative is. And it's something I've noticed that he tends to do. He finds one little section from the narrative, puts it at the beginning as a teaser, and then jumps into the story. And then somewhere along the way, that comes back. And then that gives you the aha moment. It's actually pretty clever.
Oh, goody, goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Ryan, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Coddington, and my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Woolscroft.
No.
I think you're losing all of our people. I think you just lost all of our audience right there. Just lost all the audience right there.
I think I gained all the Gregorian chant people, though.
You might have. You might have gained all the Gregorian chant people. We're on episode 244 this week, and if you're still here and you didn't click away, congratulations, you're a true fan. Or either that, or you're just like, I don't know, I want to know what's going to happen next. But this week we're going to be talking about the movie Nope by, well, we can't call him a horror mastermind because that pissed him off, but we're just going to call him horror filmmaker, former comedian extraordinaire, Jordan Peele.
Horror auteur.
Yeah, horror auteur is probably more accurate.
I think the thing that pissed him off was somebody said he's like the new John Carpenter, and that like got him all worked out. I mean, that's humble. That's respectful. That's him, like, you know. I mean, he kind of is in a lot of ways a modern Carpenter, but you know, he doesn't want like that. Like, he's going to be humble about it.
Yeah. No, I got it, and I understood why he was like, maybe don't say that because Carpenter is Carpenter. There is only one, and to try and say that you're the next one is kind of, one, presumptive, and then two, kind of denigrates Carpenter in a bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know? If a magic genie came out of a bottle and said, John, you are now the world's greatest filmmaker of all time, and I made 20 of the greatest films you've ever seen. I said, John Woolscroft's a modern day Hitchcock. I would go, fuck you. How dare you?
I would say, well, John didn't ruin people's careers, so clearly he is not a modern day Hitchcock. He didn't threaten. Fair. He didn't destroy women's careers because they wouldn't sleep with him. So clearly he's not a Hitchcock, right? Isn't that really the mark of a filmmaker?
That's part of it too. Yeah, I like how Alfred Hitchcock is like charming Oswald Cobblepot from Batman Returns.
Yeah, he's charming Oswald Cobblepot. He's a bird boy. But yeah,
just the pussy I've been looking for.
Horrible.
Horrible.
Oosh. Yeah. But this movie, for me, like, I didn't actually intend to see this. Like, I wasn't planning on it because, like, don't get me wrong, like, I like Jordan Peele a lot. I really love his work as a filmmaker. Get Out was kind of a nice adrenaline jolt to a genre that really has, to me at least, felt lackluster. And it's not from indie filmmakers. It's kind of just more or less the genre itself. I haven't really seen anything that I'm just like, oh wow, this is great and it's gonna stick with me. Like, I hate to say it, but like even the crappy films from the 90s, like Blair Witch 2, still is terrible, but sticks with you. You know, like there are moments from that movie that, yeah, the movie's not great, but just kind of sticks with you. But then Get Out comes around.
Oh, you son of a bitch! Yeah, I'm actually thinking now. You're right.
Like that's what I'm saying. But here's the thing, John. Now I'll ask you this question: can you point out any movie in the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years that's a genre film that you're just going like, yep, that sticks in my head?
There are. So I feel like I'm the wrong person to ask this because as a podcaster and a filmmaker and a film person, like I seek out like the diamonds in the rough of horror movies.
Right.
Where I understand the question you're asking, but like while I have multiple examples, I know the point you're making, so I don't want to be that guy and give it a couple.
Dude, you can be that guy.
Well, I mean,
call
like,
me bullshit.
Well, no, just like the Babadook and It Follows and The Witch.
Those are rare.
The Lighthouse. Yeah.
These
are
rare.
Exceptionally rare. It's like John Steinbeck's The Pearl.
Right.
You know, you could spend your entire life finding a lighthouse in a shell, and you're gonna feed your entire family because you found it.
Right. But my point and what I'm trying to get across is just, by and large, now you bring up some good examples: Babadook, The Lighthouse, you know, It Follows. These are all genre films that they're all slow burn. Every one of them is, for the most part, a slow burn film. You know, like I was watching It Follows with Lauren probably about a month or so ago, because she hadn't seen it in a while, and you know, it takes its time, you know, and I just have a feeling that like with a lot of these genre films that come out of, and when I'm saying coming out of Hollywood, I'm talking about like coming out from the studio system. I'm not talking necessarily from the indie side. I'm talking about the ones that you see in the 200 some odd thousand theaters that get released every Friday. That's the ones I'm talking about. The ones that specifically come out around
Paramount,
October.
See? Yeah.
Yes.
The studio's going to make a Paramount movie, see? And it's going to go out to the public, see?
Yeah. So like what I'm talking about, the genre, I'm talking about from that arena. A lot of it, to me at least, feels derivative and lackluster. But Jordan Peele comes around. Get Out, it blew up. It absolutely blew up. And it was because it was a slow burn. And it also tackled a lot of you know, issues when it comes to race and the white savior complex that you seem to get. Like it was a smart horror film. And it kind of was funny at parts, but at the same time terrifying. And that's the thing that I like in his films. Now, I will say, I was not a big fan of the movie Us. What were your thoughts on Us when you saw it?
I was so unspeakably disappointed. You know,
unspeakably disappointed.
Well, they call it, like in sports, they call it the sophomore season. In writing, like literature, they say you're only as good as your first book.
Yeah.
And I don't feel that Jordan nailed the landing. I mean, he was the new crown prince of filmmaking.
Yeah.
In this country, and I don't use that term lightly or flippantly. And then he gave us this, which, from a different filmmaker, I think I gave the film mentally like a 4 or 5 out of 10. If it had been a different filmmaker, it might have been like who was like a new guy on the scene. It might have been a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's just because, like, you know, like, how does Orson Welles live up to Citizen Kane?
Yeah.
And if you think like, oh, that might be out of line to compare Jordan Peele's Get Out to Citizen Kane, I don't think it is. I think that, you know, that's his thriller. That's his, you know, his masterpiece. So it's like, how do you live up to that? And I don't think he nailed the landing.
Well, I remember when we saw that Jordan Peele was making Get Out, and I think we were just like, oh God, is this going to be a comedy? Because that's all we knew him from. All we knew him from was the Key and Peele show.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, we're both I'm not anti Blumhouse. You're anti Blumhouse.
I'm anti Blumhouse.
I think that, like, oftentimes that they shove out crap the same way Trauma does. I mean, but Trauma actually, like, celebrates that.
Yeah, they celebrate their crappiness.
Like they swim in their own.
God bless
matter.
Lloyd Kaufman. God bless that man.
Yeah.
God bless Lloyd Kaufman. You know?
But, you know, every once in a while they have something worthwhile, like a Get Out, like, oh, good job, you know. But you know, when I saw that it was Blumhouse and the comedy guy, I'm like, oh, I hope this isn't White Chicks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But it wasn't. But no, I think, like, Lauren and I went and saw Us because we were the same thing. Like, we going to see Get Out. That was actually one of our dates when we were before we were married. And so, like, we saw that he was coming out with Us, and we're just like, oh, we're gonna see this because it's Jordan Peele, right? And I know we were sitting in the theater just going like, so what the fuck is happening? Because that's the thing we came across. And I attribute it to just, I don't want to call it Jordan Peele, because I really do think that if there's anyone working in the genre nowadays that really does care, first of all, and really does have a knack for creating characters and stories that work really well in the genre, it is him. So I don't want to denigrate him too much, but at the same time, I think he got up his own ass a little bit with the movie Us. I think he tried to make it more intellectual than the masses could take. And I think it got in the way a little bit of the terror and the thriller. I think that, because you bring the whole, like, Hands Across America thing, and you're just like, what? So there's a whole underworld of people, and how does that tie in with the Hands Across America thing? And I still don't quite get it. I still don't. I get that there's, like, whatever we do, there's an underworld of people who are doing the exact opposite or the same shit. And, like, what would happen if someone from that underworld came up and was like, I want to be in the overworld? It's like, okay, I don't know. I thought it was a lot of style. I thought it was way too smart for its own good.
It seemed like RoboCop 2 meets RoboCop. It seemed like Jordan Peele was almost somebody else trying to be Jordan Peele.
Yeah. That might be it. That might be the best way of putting it. Because, like, I don't want to say that he's a bad director. He's not.
No, he's not.
Really, really good. And I actually, I watched, I think I watched a season and a half of The Twilight Zone that he was producing, and I really liked it a lot. Did you get a chance to see it?
No, I didn't. Oh, well, you know what? I saw
Paramount.
1 or 2. I saw, like, the stand-up comedian one, and I think
that one was
good.
I like that. I like that one.
Yeah.
But there's one of the final episodes, and I think it might have been the first season. He actually stars in it as, like, himself, and it's very meta. And every once in a while, when that happens, I kind of, I'm like, oh, this is kind of neat. But my point is just, the man's talented. I'm gonna say that he just is, especially when it comes to this genre. Now, when it comes to the movie Nope, I did not have any. I really did not even pay attention to the trailers for this one. It was kind of low on my radar. And the only reason I went and saw it was because my wife, for my birthday that's coming up in next week, she had got me a pass for like the AMC stubs. Mm-hmm. So it's like, all right, well, you got 3 movies you can see a week. What are we going to see? And I'm like, well, nothing out there really looks good, because we're in a period right now, fans, where Hollywood really doesn't know what the fuck to give us and is kind of low on product. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah. It's either let's finally distribute our like blockbusters, or should that go on streaming?
Yeah. They're like really low on product.
Like the Predator movie, Prey. Yeah.
And Halloween Ends, which is now doing day and date.
Oh my God. Can I watch that at home? Because I don't want to pay for it. Okay.
Yeah. We're doing day and date. I don't want to pay for it either, because, they keep saying it's going to be the best Halloween ever, but I'm just like, you said that. You said that so many times that I think it's starting to lose.
They've said that since every Halloween.
I was like, is Jamie Lee Curtis saying it's the best Halloween ever? I'm just like, didn't you say that about the Busta Rhymes one too? Yeah, that wasn't that good either.
And I want to see your driveway full of cash and a dump truck poured. And you're like, I'll say whatever you want.
Whatever you want. Yeah, just count your money. And just,
hey,
greatest
Jamie Lee Curtis, we want you to say that Hitler is the greatest leader of a country ever. And she'll go, oh, fuck, okay. I guess I have no choice.
No, I don't think
she'll be like, Hitler's the greatest leader of a country ever.
Show for Hitler.
And Halloween ends in theaters everywhere.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's the case. That's a little step too far there, John.
You know that audio piece is going to be used against me when I run for Congress.
Yeah, if you, buddy, let me tell you something. If that's the audio piece you got to worry about, you're misplaced. because there's about 240 at the current rate, 244 episodes that they could use against you.
John Boschkoff not only says Hitler did everything right, he also says Burke did it. Allegedly.
Oh my God, you're bringing it back. My point was there's not a lot of movies that are really worth watching right now. So I saw Nope was on there. And so it was the first one I got to use with the AMC stubs. And I got to say, going to the waterfront was kind of depressing. Have you been there recently?
A little bit, yeah.
Now, I because I have children, I don't get to go out to the movie theater nearly as much as I'd like to. So when I went to the waterfront, it was on a weekday, and it was literally the saddest place I'd ever seen. Just really like dead. Workers there just like, yeah, here you go, popcorn, and okay, here you go, scan your ticket thing, and I'll see you later. Like, they just look like they were sad. Now, when you've gone there recently, have you gone like on the weekends? Is it actually like there are people there?
No, I'm with you. And for anybody that doesn't know, this is like a shopping plaza.
Yeah. The
Pittsburgh.
Waterfront we're talking about, it's a massive shop. It used to be a steel mill that was converted into a gigantic shopping plaza. And our massive AMC theater is there. So It's like the main one, if you can go to it. Nice seats, the whole works, that. It used to be gigantic. People would go all over the place to go there, the Waterfront, to the theater. But yeah, it just seemed really sad.
Yeah, and we have a P.F. Chang so big that on the menu they say if you don't get diarrhea, we'll refund you.
I've never eaten at that P.F. Chang's.
Oh, I did. Yeah,
it was a bad time.
It's a bad time. Anyway,
movie Nope.
But yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about from that like weekday experience over there at the Lowe's.
Yeah, it's just sad. Like I almost want to be like, do you guys need a hug? Do you need a hug? Because you look like you need a hug. But anyway, going to see the movie. And I gotta say, I thought this was much better than Us. Just by and large, I liked what I saw in this one. This one actually kept me entertained. I was glued to what was happening. And it had some twists and turns that I really didn't even think were coming.
I have a big problem with this movie. I think that the movie is elitist.
Oh, do tell.
I think this movie is a meta commentary on celebrity and Hollywood and how artist performers are used. And I mean, obviously this is Jordan Peele, so I'm going to assume mostly African-American performers, but just performers in general, and how they are just like chewed up and spit out. And I understand, especially in a minority sense, considering that Hollywood, like every other situation, is built on the foundation of white supremacy.
Yeah.
Is that these things are riddled with problems, but it's hard, I think, for normal people to connect with performers are being manipulated. It's I naturally think that people associate that with Hollywood and millionaires. So it's like, it's hard to say this is a metaphor for performers and actors and movie stars. And they go, who cares?
Oh, okay. So you're thinking that really the average audience member is not going to really care that it is trying to showcase that these stars are taken advantage of.
Yeah.
Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
I can see that, but at the same time, you know, be it the beginning stages of with the chimp, right? Which at the beginning of this movie, and again, I don't necessarily want to go play by play on this thing, even though it has been out for a little bit of time. But like at the beginning of this movie, you have this crazy chimp that is literally murdering people, and it's in classic Jordan Peele fashion. It's designed to kind of grab you, and it's designed to like completely take you out of what the narrative is. And it's something I've noticed that he tends to do. He finds one little section from the narrative, puts it at the beginning as a teaser, and then jumps into the story. And then somewhere along the way, that comes back. And that gives you the aha moment. It's actually pretty clever. He did it in Us too, and I think he also did it in Get Out. But it's definitely something that it's jarring. But yeah, you're right. Like everything in this does point to how Hollywood exploits people. Okay, you have Hollywood exploiting, you know, the animal actor. You have Hollywood exploiting the child actor who eventually gets comeuppance of his own. You have Hollywood exploiting the Haywood family and kind of chewing them up and spitting them out. And then you kind of have the Haywood family exploiting the monster. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, and that's kind of the crux of this, is that everyone's exploiting something to some degree.
Yeah, and obviously it's from the perspective, and this is awkward as you and I are both.
Yeah, we're very
extremely
white.
Pale,
very pale man.
From the African American perspective, like the movie opens up with talking about how the first image was that of an African American on a horse. Like it's the first example of exploitation.
Yes.
And how that has continued year after year after year. And that is Jordan Peele's answer to that. And, you know,
but I don't hate it.
Good
though.
for him for that. You know, good for him. But at the same time, I think it's harder to give the average audience because I think that they lump everybody in with, Denzel Washington or Samuel L. Jackson or any other rich African American in Hollywood. They assume every other black person involved in Hollywood is rich because of their ignorant tunnel vision,
Yeah. But I mean, I like that thread that's in it, though, that it's in essence exposing that in this entertainment industry, everyone is exploiting someone. That's it. The Haywood family is trying to capture a picture of this monster. Why are they doing it? For financial gain. There you go. Okay. Why was the Gordy's Home sitcom made with a chimpanzee? To exploit it for financial gain. Okay. Jupe, the child actor who's grown up, why does he have a Western themed park that now is exploiting the monster for financial? It's all for financial gain. So I didn't have a problem with that. I saw it as that was the intellectual plot that's under this, because every movie has that. At least you'd hope that every movie has that. It has some little intellectual plot to it. But that's kind of the plot that I appreciate. I didn't think it was necessarily elitist. I just thought it was more or less exposing that the entertainment industry, by and large, is cruel, exploitative, and doesn't care.
All right. Well, Brian, I'm going to give you 5 seconds, and okay. I'm giving you 5 seconds in a mocking sense. I don't actually expect you to answer this. What did Gordy mean in the movie? And go, oh, time's up. What
did Gordy mean in the movie?
Yeah.
You mean the child actor?
Oh, I'm sorry. Not Gordy. The chimpanzee.
The chimpanzee was...
I'm not expecting you to actually answer that because I put you on the spot. My point being that I think this is the new Shining.
Oh.
Where, how people have talked about this for the last, 40 years, however long that movie's been out. Yeah, no, 40 years.
A couple of documentaries about all this.
Yeah, and a handful of documentaries where people are going to be like, what did this mean? And what did it mean when they entered this room? And what did it mean because Jack Nicholson's jacket was a different color when he entered this frame? I think that people are going to talk about the chimpanzee scene until the day the world dies. Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that. I mean, for me, it's twofold. One, it's to illustrate that the entertainment industry is exploitative over animals. Okay. You could definitely, and I'm going to say this, you could definitely make a parallel to racism on that one. That's a old nasty stereotype that has come up all throughout the entertainment industry. So yeah, the chimpanzee. Why did they go with the chimpanzee? Again, I view that it's definitely about race, to some degree. On top of that, it's supposed to also tie into the fact that, Otis Haywood Jr. I'm not going to say OJ because it just sounds really, really bad, and I know they did that on purpose in the movie. Yeah, but Otis Jr. His whole thing is about understanding the beast and understanding the monster, be it a horse or this. And that's kind of the whole thing, is that Hollywood did not understand, and as they do with most animals, don't understand that they're actually dealing with an animal, a thing that could kill them. So it's supposed to kind of connect to all of that as well. That's how I view it. I might be wrong, but it kind of makes sense thematically.
Well, something that I think, I
also have 2 degrees in this shit too, so that's part of it as well.
Yeah, if I'm putting my professor hat on.
So yeah, I heard that you're going to be doing the professor thing now.
Oh yeah, I'm a smarty pants. How deal with that? Yeah,
you're gonna bribe them to give you 100 on the evaluation, aren't you?
Heck yeah! Because as we all know, temporary professors make so much fucking bank.
Oh man,
they can bribe students.
Yeah, they can bribe them with like whatever extra, money they get from also doing their other 3 or 4 jobs. But anyway, getting back to the movie Nope. Okay.
But something that I had a problem with was the monster.
Okay. You didn't like the monster. Why?
Well, I mean, I understand that the monster is a representation of capitalism suffocating and eating as it does.
Is it a representation of capitalism?
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. That's the great thing about a good filmmaker like Jordan Peele is my interpretation not correct? Or
I didn't see it that way. I saw it as just it's a classic monster. I saw it as like, here's the fake out of you were expecting a UFO, because halfway through this movie it flips it on its head. You think that you're getting at least I thought, again, I went in not watching a single trailer, so I really had no idea what I was going to get in this film. And actually it was actually really refreshing. Have you ever done that, like just not gone in with any pretext?
That's the greatest movie experience you can have. Yeah. Where you don't have any pre-existing knowledge of what like what the shtick is, the con is.
It's been a long time since I had done that. And it was just because I really wasn't paying attention to this, and I don't know if I necessarily would have gone and seen it if I didn't have the Stubbs thing. But it was nice to kind of not have any pretext. But yeah, getting back to the monster, I didn't necessarily think it was like, a symbol for capitalism. I saw it as more or less, this is a trope of the UFO, literally in the shape of a classic 1950s, 1960s UFO. And oh yeah, by the way, it's not aliens. It's this giant fucking monster that eats horses, eats people, and then spits out blood. Which I gotta say, that blood rain scene, awesome.
I mean, but at the same time, that's a literal definition of anything in corporate world, anything in movies.
Chew you up and spit you out.
Yeah. So, but like in its original form, it was this lifeless shape that just had a suck hole. But by the end of the movie, it almost looked like something you would see on the bottom of the ocean. I'm like, don't give it an anthropomorphic state. Don't give it something that
when it transformed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That part I didn't
if it's a metaphor, don't transform it. Make it as lifeless and suckhole as possible.
I mean, that's interesting that it did change. Like, I almost want to think that maybe, and this is again going deep in the weeds, and you know what, John, you might actually be right. This might become the next Shining that everyone kind of pours over all the details. But maybe it's one of these things that the monster's intelligent enough to know that we have this kind of in our society, this pop culture reference of what a UFO looks like. So it changed itself to look like the UFO. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That
could be it. And that's the only reason why it unfurled itself to turn into its real form. I didn't have too much of a problem with the way it looked once it unfurled itself. I guess for me, the problem was then just, what's the end goal here? Because there's two, right? On one end, it's, we got to get a picture of this fucking thing. And then it's also, we got to not die. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And what do either of those two things mean? Why are we watching a movie just for somebody to get a photograph or to not die?
I mean, the not dying thing makes more sense to me than the photograph thing. Although really, like, if we really want to think about it, the movie sets up that the Haywood family is on really fucking tough times here. And that if they somehow took a picture of a real flying saucer or alien or whatever, that it would suddenly mean that they are going to enter into, you know, a pretty good financial footing. That's what we're led to believe, and that's kind of the driving force behind this. But I kind of find that to be weird. Like, that part I did find to be a little strange, that's the driving force. We got to get a picture of the fucking thing.
Yeah, and that's never going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, here's the thing that happens. There's this thing called Photoshop. It's been around for years. And clearly someone could just say that's Photoshopped.
I don't know what you're talking about, Brian. I don't know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I'm just saying, like, there have been people who have taken pictures of UFOs for decades. And I'm pretty sure none of them are living the high life.
I think we had the same problem with glass.
Oh, yeah.
And either early 2019 or 2020.
That was
no, it was early 2020 because I remember that was right before
the shitstorm, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I remember like that Super Bowl had like J-Lo and what's her face? Doesn't matter. But anyways, I remember everybody on the internet being like so upset that they were like sexual. I'm like, oh, this is the worst thing that's gonna happen this year. It's like, psych. You have no idea. You have no idea what's gonna happen.
Oh,
I'm so
buddy,
sorry that Jennifer Lopez gave you a boner, but you have a lot of other things to worry about.
I'm like, just wait till March, buddy. Just wait till March. Technically, it already had happened. But just wait till March. It's going to get a lot worse. But no, yeah, I just, for me, that the motivation seemed a little short-sighted on that front. The whole survival thing made more sense to me. You know, because clearly it's okay. This monster is eating horses on a daily basis. They're trying things to try to capture it on camera, and it's getting pissed off and it's threatening them. That makes sense. Again, why would you try to get a picture then of it and not just try to kill it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Say I'm wrong. Now, by the way, I do want to mention, this is being like super hypercritical of this. I really did have an enjoyment of watching this movie. I really had fun watching it.
Yeah, I did too.
You know, this was a very entertaining film. And you know what I did like, John? And I got to give this to Jordan Peele.
What's that?
The man is a master of the show the thing and then watch that thing come back around in the story. You know what I mean? Every single time he showed something, be it a prop or something like that, like even the wishing well that takes pictures in the beginning of it, you know, OJ and M walk past it. M gets in the middle of a picture. And this is at the Jupiter ranch, and the like, you know, what the hell fuck it is, the Western Park. And like, it's such a nuanced thing, right? Like, I didn't really pay much attention to it. I'm like, oh yeah, she kind of, you know, photobombed that thing. And sure enough, that becomes the tool to actually capture the picture of the monster.
Yeah.
He's a master of it. He's a master of the show and then have it come back. You know, showing the bullet, and then later in the movie, bullet gets used.
Well, in a perfect world, that would be every director. Like, if you set something up, pay it off.
Yes. That was nice. That I'm just saying, like, that was an enjoyment. I was like, ha!
Right. Like,
you know, like,
a filmmaker that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
How charming.
I just want to say, we're being critical, but by and large, I was entertained. I had fun watching this. This was a nice monster movie. At least I felt that it was a pretty decent monster movie.
Well, I've had a lot of people talk to me. Speaking of like how we've spoken about this movie up to this point, I've had a lot of people like say like, you know, of different backgrounds, like, would you suggest this movie? And I said, the best thing I can say about this movie is that it provokes conversation. Yes. And there's no bad movie that provokes conversation unless it's super negative conversation.
Unless we're talking about Neil Breen, and then it becomes...
Or movie 43 or something.
That was bad.
Check the archives, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a recent one.
But like, if it provokes a conversation, it's worth checking out.
Yeah. I know that fan of the show, excuse me, one of our fans, Joel, you know who you are, Joel. I know you're listening to this. He specifically asked me, he's our friend from across the pond. He specifically asked if I liked this movie. And I told him I did. He didn't like it. He thought it was slow. And I was bored. I don't know how you can get bored with this.
I mean, I could possibly understand how droll, how by the numbers, you know, I'm just saying it's absolutely boring.
He doesn't talk like that, dude.
Oh, he doesn't talk like that
either. You know, he's like our super fan. Please don't piss him off.
No problem there, mate. I'm so sorry. I love you. I fucking love you. And if you ever have me in England, I will pay for 7 pints for you.
Okay. I actually think he lives in Gibraltar and not England, but
I'm too ignorant to know that.
But yes, our fan of the show, Joel Francis, asked me if I liked it, and I thought it really was good. But he felt that it was a little on the boring side. I guess, I mean, I really can't see it being boring. Like, just when you have moments of you know, breathers between action, you get a massive scene, and it's a nice slow build. You know, if they just jumped in with the Bloodhouse at the beginning, I don't think it would be nearly as impactful for the rest of the movie.
And that's where horror comes from, is slow build.
Yeah. Like, it first starts off with we lost our horse, and the horse gets like ripped apart, you know, and then you've got fake outs with Jupe's family kind of trying to piss off OJ and M and all that, and you know, then it becomes, all right, where's the real monster at? And then it builds from there. So I mean, I felt that the pacing of it was really good. The only thing I could think of is if you're expecting Get Out territory, it's not that. It's not crazy gory. Like, I didn't think it was crazy gory.
No.
You know, the stuff with the chimpanzee in the beginning, that's pretty fucking terrifying. You know,
but all the gore is very hidden.
It is. And like, the most you get is like, you see what's about to happen, and then you get the aftermath of that. Like the scene where the monster sucks up Jupe and everyone at that show because he thinks they're actual, like, he thinks it's a UFO. And you see him looking up at the sky, fucking terrified. And the shadow coming over everyone. Everyone's screaming, going crazy, getting sucked up, even inside the thing. But you don't, like, see bodies getting ripped apart. You don't see them getting mashed. You just hear the screaming. And that is masterful storytelling when it comes to horror. To let the audience do the bulk of the work. You know, I think they honestly could have cut out the scene where you're actually inside the monster. You could have cut that out completely and it still would have been effective.
Yeah, I didn't like that the monster looked like almost a sea creature. It should have
during that sequence or after.
Yeah, it looked like something from like the bottom of the ocean. It should have just been something that didn't even appear human. It should have just been something that like sucked out life. And then you could have put any idea onto that, like this is blah blah blah, or fill in the blank, or whatever your particular issue is.
Would you have preferred if we never actually saw that opening of the monster?
I don't have any problem with the opening of the monster. I have the problem with the evolution of the monster.
No, I'm talking about like when you're actually seeing the monster suck up people. Like, did you have a problem with that part? I didn't. I could see when it transformed.
No,
when it transforms at the end, I could see that.
Yeah, no, I don't have any problem with seeing it.
Okay.
I have a problem with its evolution.
Okay. I get that. I get it. I think maybe what he was trying to do, and again, we're treating this like the fucking Shining already, is maybe he took inspiration from undersea creatures that maybe do kind of dwell in the darkest parts of the ocean. Possible.
It's deep. Yeah.
It's deep. Possible.
Literally deep and figuratively deep.
yeah. But no, I didn't have I thought the way the monster was presented, with the exception of that ending. Again, I can see where the way the monster unfurls itself after being a UFO the whole time, like, I mean, that saucer shape the whole time, it's a little like, why would you all of a sudden do that? Like it got pissed off. So it's like, fine, fuck you. I'm not going to be a saucer anymore. It's like, why? Why weren't you that the whole time? Like,
yeah,
wouldn't that have made sense? That part I thought was a little on the weird side there. But I like the fact that this built up in a way that there clearly was a payoff. That scene, and again, I keep going back to this, the sequence where OJ's trapped in the car and you've got the blood-drenched house and blood spilling out over top of this house of people. It's fucking scary as all hell, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that he throws in, again, classic Jordan Peele. He throws in a little bit of levity right in the middle of this shitstorm, or in this case, bloodstorm. You've got OJ who's about to open the door. He's like, nope, not doing it. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, I laughed in the theater.
I.e. the title.
I.e. the title. I.e. the title. But yeah, no, I was entertained, but I definitely think that there's merit to some people who might say that this that there's more to it,
Yeah. I often question, do I put Jordan Peele on a mantle after Get Out that's unfair? And maybe should I just treat him as a filmmaker like anyone else? And if I did, maybe I wouldn't be so hard on him. I don't know. I'm not sure the answer for that.
I don't know about that. I think Get Out it did two things. Get Out really kind of amped up what the slow burn horror film could do. And it added in that social commentary that I don't think really was in a lot of horror movies up until that point. Like, you really didn't see, I mean, that's not to say that there hasn't been social commentary in horror films. There always has been. But it was very blatantly out there with a movie like Get Out.
Yeah.
You look at
like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, but you look at like the movie Children Under the Stairs, and that has social context in it. But Get Out literally was right in your face. So I think that's part of it, is that we're looking at Jordan Peele and now we're going like, okay, is every movie that the man makes going to have that? Okay, so that kind of sets up an unfair thing for him. And then 2, this is only his 3rd film. You know?
Yeah.
It's only his 3rd film. And maybe it is that we're putting him on an unfair pedestal. You know, we look at the classic filmmakers like Romero, and we look at Carpenter, and we look at Hitchcock. And I mean, they had decades worth of movies that they put out. I was just watching, really starting to watch Season of the Witch that Romero made. And especially because after we had gone to the Romero archives.
Woo woo.
Whoop, whoop. And gotta tell you, it's not an easy watch. I don't know if you've ever seen it before. It's on the Shudder, and it's a difficult watch. It's very much in the vein of The Amusement Park. If you remember that one that recently got released by Shudder. Yep. It's very trippy. Very trippy. And when researching a little bit, I was kind of curious why this movie was made. Apparently, it was originally supposed to be a softcore porno, and Romero refused to have explicit sex in the movie. So it's like you're watching, it's like, why does this feel like an old 70s porn? That's because it is. But just without the porn part. But anyway, my point is just that the people that we consider like masters of horror had decades to really hone their craft. And Jordan Peele's pretty much already hit it out of the park on his first film. So I don't know if we're necessarily giving him enough runway to really learn and experiment with his craft.
And that's so hard when you hit so hard with your first film, like, oh, here's the newest guy on the block. Like, this is the greatest filmmaker alive today. It's like, you have to feel, if you're Jordan Peele, like, oh shit.
Unless you're M. Night. You're M. Night.
Well, we saw how that turned out for him.
Well, because clearly he was a one pump and done guy.
Yeah.
I mean, not to be crude here, but he was. Okay.
Hey, I think that there was the unbreakable hooker who went, he left a little on my thigh.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, Unbreakable. Unbreakable, not bad. Unbreakable, not bad. But
all the other hookers went.
All the other
massicized. Yeah. I had to get a Brillo pad to get it off. It was ruined by the time it was placed.
A Brillo pad? What a twist. Oh, horrible, horrible, horrible. Anyway, final thoughts, John, on the movie Us.
As I said,
not Us. Nope. Jesus Christ.
Nope. Us. No, I'm sorry. Not Us. Nope. No. Us. Nope. I'm not. No. My final thoughts on Nope. I've said this to a lot of people that I work with at Row House who are film nuts and everything. The main compliment I can give to the movie is that it provokes conversation. Yeah. That it not only provokes, but invokes conversation where you have to talk about it, whether you liked it or not. And it's not just like, another, Transformers or,
there's no sequel. This isn't a franchise. Like, that's the thing.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, I just watched another like big explosion, stupid movie. Like, yeah. No, this movie is a movie that requires you to look intellectually at it. And I appreciate that. Yeah. That's my feelings on it.
It's good feelings. My final thoughts are that this movie works on a couple different levels. It does. If you are into just watching a pretty solid monster movie, you're into the classic slow build monsters, this one will give you what you want. If you're into something that speaks to a bit of what John just said, the intellectual side, this one will also give you that. If you're a fan of just Jordan Peele's work, you'll see clearly that he's continuing a style that he's kind of crafted with movie Get Out and Us. I do feel that this was much more entertaining by and large than Us was. I didn't walk out of the theater going, this is boring and what the hell happened. I knew what happened, but it did make me think. And if you're into that sort of thing, there you go.
Nope.
Oh, awesome. Well, this is fun, especially doing this at 12:30 at night. John, where can they find you at on the internets?
The social medias. Do I need to say any more? Oh, well,
the social media.
I gotta promote myself.
Yeah, go promote yourself.
The Unreal J Wolves over on YouTube. Please check that out. And if I make you giggle just once, subscribe. If you watch me and say, look at this stupid shit, I mean, don't subscribe. I don't, I'm not going to waste your time. I don't want you to waste my time. But if you giggle just once, please subscribe.
That's good. You can find me at Brian Coddington. I also run the Psycho Show page. Be sure to like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Psycho Show. If you have a favorite movie or question you want to throw away, or maybe, just maybe, you hated this movie, talking to you, Joel. You hated this movie, didn't like it. You want to let us know, you can contact us at cinemapsychoshow.com. And be sure to follow or subscribe or just listen to us wherever you get your audio, and we will see you next time.
What's that, Pope Benedict? You are a Nazi and you don't believe in gay marriage? Maybe you should be a nope.
What the fuck? Oh my god.
Epicast.